slow, live it up, watching time go. Planning moves, things solid to this cheat code. Get your money, make it big, fuck being broke. Get your money, make it big, fuck being broke. Live slow, live it up, watching time go. Making moves, things solid to this cheat code. Get your money, make it big, fuck being broke. Get your money, make it big, fuck being broke. This how it is, the mission's Benjamins. And fuck the drama and the bullshit, we ain't little kids. My circle small, but my riders heart, they never quit. Get your money, keep it gangsta, solid, straight legit. Never switch like the real ones that die for this. It's fucked up, but this is truly how it is. I hope you're ready if you're picking this like full of sin. No turning back, I represent my vital to the end. Fuck the fakes and the snakes and everyone that hates. I'm not phased, I won't break, bitch, I'll never change.
You are now watching M.O.D Entertainment.
And don't forget to check out the merchandise on the website, my website where I have my gear, where you can get t-shirts, jerseys, masks, beer holders, license plates, some prison artwork, shoelaces, from a bunch of different stuff. I got them in all different colors, you know what I mean? From the hats, with the bandana presentation to it, from a bunch of different stuff, and at cheap prices. What's good, G-Life? This right here is Los Angeles, LA County, and now we'll be heading towards the section that is known as South Central. South Central obviously being a very chaotic, hectic area, jam-packed full of a gang of neighborhoods, not only Hispanic, we're talking Cribs, Bloods, essays, everybody and their mothers right here in South Central, literally. And we're going to be heading to the area that is more jam-packed, than any other part of Los Angeles. We're talking about in just within this small area of South Central, we're talking about more than like two dozen active gangs, between Hispanic and blacks. And in this area is where we'll be covering sets of neighborhoods that often get confused, and I get told if they're the same, if they're different, or if they're just different cliques, because they have similar titles to their names. So I'm here to break them all down, because they are not all the same neighborhood. They're all different barrios, so they're not the same neighborhood. So they're all individual gangs, but they just start off the same. And we'll be starting off with one of the more larger ones and the more recognized ones out of the sets that we're going to be covering right here. And it's going to be the Varrio STV. STV translating to Varrio Street Villains. Varrio Street Villains is a neighborhood that was established right here in South Central in the 80s. Their barrio is everything where the Vermont Square's at. So everything from Martin Luther King and Vermont, to Normandy, and all the way to Flower Street. And still heading down towards 47th on Hoover. So that's Hoover and 45th, Hoover and 46th, Hoover and 47th, and everything close to the Manuel Art High School is their barrio. That's where you can find the street villains. Now, I do realize that this is the territory of the Rolling 40 neighborhood cribs, one of the more larger crib sets within this area. Obviously, a dominant neighborhood, that, hey, they got their shit on lockdown. But actually, the street villains and the neighborhood cribs share the territory. And believe it or not, they actually, as far as I know, there's no beef between them. They actually have had a pretty good relationship. So it goes to show, that not everywhere do Hispanics and, black neighborhoods beef it. There's some areas where they could, coexist with no problem. This being one of them areas, due to the fact that they do have the same common enemies, because you got 18 right there, you got Florence, you got the Alley Tiny Criminals, you got 55 Buns, you got you got everybody. I'm telling you, like Barrio Mojados, streets, and you just got everybody here. And not only that, but like a bunch of other black neighborhoods, from the 52nd Hoover gangster cribs, you know what I mean, to all the Rolling 40 sets. You have, like I said, the 18 streeters, you got the 40s too, you got the 55th neighborhood cribs nearby right there as well. You got just so many neighborhoods just all over the place, you know what I mean? It gets chaotic within this area. It's no joke. Now the Street Villains neighborhood is not a big neighborhood, but then again, a majority of these gangs don't really get that big within this area due to the fact that there's just so many neighborhoods right here. You know what I mean? It's hard for, neighborhoods to actually really, expand. But the Varrio Street Villains has branches outside of South Central. They have homies in San Diego. So they have a clique out there in San Diego. That's the same one as this one. They have homies in Barstow. You got the Barstow Street Villains, which is the same ones as this Street Villains. So you have them located in several other spots, not just right here in South Central. So they did, get a decent size. I was at least told that there were more than 100 members to the Street Villains. So they do have some heads to them. You know what I'm saying? That's why, I said that they were the larger one out of the two, coming out since the 80s. And continue to still represent theirs and put theirs on the map for the Varrio Street Villains. And next on our list, and we don't even have to, even drive, a distance or nothing like that, because it's literally right here. But this is a neighborhood that often gets confused with the Street Villains within this area. This is another neighborhood that's in South Central that is located in several different spots. But their original clica, where they originally started, was in the low bottoms on 21st Street. Which is the Varrio Street Saints. Varrio Street Saints, not to be confused with Varrio Saints. The Varrio Street Saints is a barrio that's been right here in 21st Street on the low bottoms, close to Ghetto Boys, Primera Flats, and all of them. Has been already established right here since the late 70s, early 80s when this neighborhood was established. Another roughly small neighborhood, but that handle business. A neighborhood that people do hear about due to the fact that the rapper Wiki from the Brown side, this is the barrio in which he comes from, who he puts it down for. And their barrio, like I said, is everything right here in the low bottoms on 21st Street, in the chaotic zone too, because, several other places in South Central is just, gang infested with everybody, from Ghetto Boys, Primera, Clanton, 29th Street, you got the 22nds, and then, yeah, like I said, man, it's hectic. There's, no breathing room. The Varrio Street Saints neighborhood is right here in everything that's in South Park. Small territory, but nonetheless still there. So, between Vermont and 43rd Street is another area where you're able to find their barrio. So they do have a branch right there on McKinley and 43rd, between Vermont. They do have their 43rd clique right there. Despite what people are going to want to say, people are always going to want to talk. I'm just here to state the facts, and nothing less. They do have a clique out right there. Despite, like I said, what individuals are going to want to say, it is what it is. They are right there. Like I said, a small branch. The barrio was never a large neighborhood. This neighborhood was always roughly, more of the smaller gangs. But still, nonetheless, to this day, continues to be active and still representing theirs. And go check out Wicked from Brownside, his rolas. He gets down. He's definitely putting it down for his neighborhood right here out of the Varrio Street Saints. And have no relations to the Varrio Street Villains. Separate neighborhoods. Now, as we make our way heading towards, still right here in South Central, transitioning already into the west of Los Angeles, where we're able to find the next barrio on the list. For this one, we would have to head towards the section of Manchester, where we're able to find the barrio STC 13, or as sometimes as is written, MASTC, which stands for Street Criminals. Varrio Street Criminals, and like I said, has no connections to the Street Villains or the Street Saints. These are the Street Criminals. So the other one is STXV, and then you have STXS, and then you have STXC. And like I said, I know people, were thinking that they're the same neighborhood, but just different cliques. That is not the case for these sets. They're all individual, different neighborhoods. The Varrio Street Criminals, being, one of the more smaller ones out of the set. I was told that they were a crew that transitioned into a neighborhood. As a matter of fact, this barrio is made up of two crews that came together, which is the barrio, which was the crew M.A. and STC. M.A. standing for Mexican Assassins or Mexican Artists or, etc. So they came together to form, their hood, which is MASTC, the Mexican Assassin Street Criminals Barrio. And like I said, this neighborhood has already been right here since the 90s, when they were a crew, and then they transitioned to a neighborhood in the 2000s. It has always roughly been a small neighborhood, considering that they were crews and they hadn't been around that long. That's the reason for that. And you do see it up sometimes. I know people see it as Manchester Street Criminals because they are located on Manchester. So that is another, another title that they do make. MA stand for Manchester. So, they're located right there. I do realize that that is 18th Street's neighborhood. They established themselves right there. They do go at it with them. So they kind of have to share the territory. And it be getting hectic right there, man. It's no joke. But like I said, nonetheless, the Varrio Street Criminals continue to still be there and representing for theirs, with more than 50 members. So like I said, roughly more of the smaller size, but nonetheless, real neighborhood that does real things and continues to still represent theirs. And another one on the list, now for this one, we would have to actually make our way now to east of Hollywood. East Hollywood is where we're able to find the next, barrio that often gets confused with these other sets. Which is the Varrio STA. Varrio STA is a little bit different because this one actually stands for Varrio St. Andrews. St. Andrews. But before, when they were a crew, one of the titles that they would use, and people still know them as this, is, well, apart from street artists, you had the street assassins. So that was street assassins or street artists. The STA or STXA, like the other ones. The Street Assassins, Varrio St. Andrews now is located right here in St. Andrew Street on everything. The barrio's what's between Melrose and Beverly. That is the heart of their hood right there on the east of Hollywood. Like I said, don't ever get it twisted. Hollywood cracks as well, my boy. You know what I mean? I know, people think of it, the fine life, the, celebrities, movie stars, the Hollywood Walk of Fame, and, all of that. Every area is just going to have its treacherous, spots. Hollywood be no different, because it is home to several neighborhoods that are very notorious and very, dangerous. These guys ain't no suckers. You know what I mean? And in the mix, you have the Varrio Street Assassins, Varrio St. Andrews, who used to be a crew that became a neighborhood. So obviously they're a more smaller set. Haven't been around that long, since the, mid 90s, when they were established. But nonetheless, they continue to still be up and put theirs on the map and hold it down for theirs. This is also the barrio that's known as Varrio Saints, so they have no connections to the Street Saints. You know what I mean? They're two different barrios, and like I said, none of these gangs have no connections to each other or none of that. Just a similar beginning title of it is the only thing that they share in common. So they're not the same neighborhood as people used to think. They're all individual gangs, that put it down for theirs and continue to still represent theirs.
Thank you for watching M.O.D Entertainment. Make sure you like and subscribe.